Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. I am here to help you go through your life's journey. And I am just so grateful to be here with you in the journey of your life. So, if you are here, I am willing to listen to what you have to say too. So, going into this, I'm an intuitive medium. I'm a public speaker who loves to support you with intuitive information that I have. And today I wanted to talk, I was actually called to, um, what's the word? To talk about grief. And, because grief has been very heavy in a lot of different places. I mean, I know that we haven't had it we haven't had grief kind of heavy. Hi, Veronica. Yay, thank you for making it. That we haven't really had grief since like COVID time, but we're kind of coming into another layer of it that it's kind of getting heavy. And like for me, I'm going to speak boldly here and speak of the I. Like for me, yesterday was my husband's birthday and also my mom's birthday. And so loving my husband, and doing that in the real body form here. And then it's my mom's birthday, and she's been gone out of her physical body for, let's see, Fia is now 28, so 27 years. So going into that she's been gone for 27 years. And then my mother-in-law, yesterday was her last day here, and she was going to go back to Florida. Just got a text from her that she landed. And so there was that grief of, having someone who I love so dearly, because she stepped in being my mom um, when my mom passed. And so, because my mom and her, they loved each other, they really loved each other. And so she understood my mom, and so she decided that she would become my mom, even though she was my mother-in-law. But, it's like, so there's that grief of her leaving. And so going into this, that, grief comes to us in many different forms. And, like, Veronica, you here are going to go back to work after being off of work for a while. And you can have a form of grief that way, that you're grieving that you have to go back to work. Just like for me, I'm going to go back and doing my morning job. And so going into this, that, we don't always have uh, the where that we know of that grief does come upon us. There's been times where I've had grief when I couldn't eat certain foods because my body was choosing to do some healing work. That's what I choose to call it when when things were kind of going. So like when my liver was healing, I couldn't eat certain foods, and when my digestive system was healing, I couldn't eat the other foods, and it was kind of a combination of everything at the same time. So I was grieving a lot of that. So going into this, that there are many different stages of grief. And people don't always realize that there are many stages of grief, and some of it can be very, and it depends on what you're grieving, can depend on the layer of this, but people don't really realize how much anger is part of grief. And going into this, that we can have a lot of anger and frustration when we are like, why do I have to go back to work? Why is this, like my mother-in-law, who's now my father-in-law, now has passed now 2 years. She had a leak in her pond, or in her house, when one of the hurricanes was going through. And so she was mad at my father-in-law for not being there to be able to help her vacuum up the water. So, and she knows that he didn't really want to be there anymore. He was very sick and unhealthy, and was in pain, and it was time for him to go. She has that understanding, but she still had an anger moment when he wasn't there to support her, and it's 2 years. So anger can be with you for a long time. It's kind of like, when it was my birthday, I was kind of frustrated that I didn't have anybody around me that, all my family's passed. So besides my younger family, and so going into this, that I was a little frustrated and anger that I didn't have, the good family times, that I used to have, but that's okay. You know, we all have this. So going into this is about respecting yourself and your emotions that you're going through. Um, there are 5 stages of grief, right? Well, actually, I'm going to say that there's more than that because everyone weaves into another one, and it lays upon every other, and not all the stages of grief. And I'm not going to name all the stages here, but I know anger, frustration, joy, disappointment and sadness. It's all part of the dance that, we go through different layers, but we all go through them at different times. Like, somebody could be angry. Let's say, okay, let's give an example, that a grandfather passes away in a car accident. Well, one family member could be angry right away, and the other one could be kind of melancholy. Another one could be, just in grief and sadness. Another one could be remembering all the good times. So everybody can be in a different stage of grief at a different time. And, going into this, that, we don't always have a knowing of who we are and what we're doing, but it is that dance. And so, here I'm gonna look up, okay, so we'll do this here, and I wish I would have done this ahead of time. I just had come out of a session, so um um I wanted to make sure I honored that session. um uh and I wanted to honor, there we go. Oh, might help if I do this. I was having problems with my Wi-Fi earlier, so um some more: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Huh. So let's go over denial. That we may have these moments where we're in denial about things happening, right? We may be in denial of the, like me going back to my morning job. I'm in denial because I know I have 2 week or another week here, that I'm in denial that I have all this free time left, right? That I can have denial of, that somebody has gone. No, they haven't gone yet. It's like my mother-in-law leaving. No, it's not time. I'm in denial. She's not leaving on Wednesday. She's leaving on Friday. It's like we can have this denial that things aren't the way it is, or like, somebody who's in really that. Oh my gosh, I've witnessed people who are just stuck in grief. They are so stuck in grief that they cannot get moving. They cannot do what they need to do. They cannot it's hard for them to even get dressed. It's hard for them to eat. It's hard for them to do things. And they're in denial that this reality has really hit, that yes, this person that you love so dearly is gone, or an animal is gone, right? So we're in denial about it. um, and then we have anger and frustration, and that, why did they leave? Well, I don't understand why they left. I don't understand why I can't eat that food anymore. I don't understand where we're at here. I don't understand this. Why does life have to do this to me, right? Why do I have to do this? But that's anger. And then bargaining. Well, God, you know, like, let's say if somebody is getting ready to pass, bargaining with God. God, if I go to church every day, you'll save this person, right? If I can eat this food one more time, I promise not to eat it another time. There's, if you give me a chance to um to go on this trip, I will praise your name afterwards. It's that great because we didn't have the money to go on the trip, so we're grieving because everybody else in the family got a chance to go, right? And then depression. Depression is huge. Depression is huge in grief. People don't give themselves enough understanding that depression is a part of grief. And, Depression is something that, a depressed moment, a depressed understanding, a depressed feeling, a depressed breath. It's a depressed knowing of life. It's that heavy, that weighted down feeling. And depression is an okay place, actually. I know for me that there's been times where, when I've been in grief, that I've actually turned on a movie or something. I like the Hallmark movies, they get me going here, or another kind of movie that really gets me crying. And I'll sit in the dark. Everybody else has gone to bed. I'll sit in the dark and I'll just cry. I'll be depressed for that night. I'll be down and depressed. But then when I wake up in the morning, I start saying to myself, okay, you had grief, you had yesterday as the moment, we're going to be able to go forward here. I'm honoring you for everything that you're feeling. I'm honoring you for where you're at. I want you to understand things, that we're okay. So giving ourselves a chance to say, I'm grieving and I'm down and I'm depressed, but then remembering that we have to get back up again and say, okay, emotions, you had your time, we'll work on that. But at the same time, though, life is happening around us, and sometimes we can't stay depressed because we got to get up and go do this. We got to cook dinner. We got to get up and go outside. We have to go and get to work. Sometimes we have to go do these things, and depression, it can't have us sit in bed all day and go, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But that's the thing is that people start falling into the emotion of depression, and they start allowing it to control them instead of you negotiating with it. And so with that, I want people to remember that when you are in depression, it's okay. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be low. It's okay to be like today. I was kind of depressed a little bit earlier today. And I told my husband, who's off today, I said, honey, I'm just not moving fast today. I'm not going to move fast today. I've been rushing around, being with my loving mother in law that I love so much, and, interacting, and family members being here because, since my mother in law was here, we had other family members here. And it's like this to that, and that to this, and this to that. And it was just a busy time. But the thing is, though, I know that I can only go like that for so long. And then I have to kind of give myself credit for where I'm at. And so I kind of said, well, I'm going to do today a little bit slower. Tomorrow I have a very busy day that I'm going to be doing things and in the car a lot. And then Friday I'll have another day where I can maybe slow down a little bit. So going into this, that there is this, and then the last stage is kind of that acceptance stage, and I call that the walkable grief. I call that the moment where there's walkableness in the grief that you are. You understand that this happened. You have the understanding, and that's almost time. That's almost that moment where time kind of allows the acceptance to happen. And it's like, even though you still miss the person, but you understand why they went, or they understand why. It's like when my dog Ojo passed away. She ate breakfast in the morning, and by midnight that same day she was passed away. And so there's the anger and the frustration of, why is this happening to her? She was a younger dog. She was only 7 years old, but she had a cyst or something that burst in her, and she passed away. And so I had anger and stuff like that. But after a little while, I got into acceptance. Well, intuitively, I felt like there was a cyst, or there was a cancer type of thing that burst in her. And I kind of went into acceptance of, well, I miss you, Ojo. There again is that. But it is what it is, and you're here, and I know that Ojo's around spiritually, and she's been doing things. So going into this, that we have these different stages of grief and understanding, and we can grieve, the simplest things, grieving that we couldn't, oh shoot, I couldn't go that same way to work that I go every day. And we can grieve that. We can grieve not being able to, we're going into a grocery store and they don't have what we need. And so going into this, that there is those stages. And I'm going to tell you that my Wi-Fi is having a little bit of problems right now. So if I'm if I'm having some slowing down or something like that, my Wi-Fi is kind of going a little bit weird. But going into this, that I want you to remember that all we can do and all we can be is our human self and deal with emotions, right? So who are we and what we're doing? So my Wi-Fi is, I don't know if you got that, but my Wi-Fi is kind of going up and down. It looks like from the little sign in the corner here. So if I'm a little bit slow or something like that, it's my Wi-Fi. Mercury in retrograde, right? So going into this, we all have these understandings and emotions that are dealing with us. And if we can hold on to our story and our understanding and our belief system and our beings together, that we can negotiate what it is. And sometimes, like my mother-in-law was saying, that when my father-in-law passed, that she got rid of his clothes. Why have his clothes there? And she said that she did it when she was in the fog of his passing. And so going into this, sometimes we got to do things, like for when my mother was here in this room, actually, she passed away in this my spiritual room here, of Lou Gehrig's disease. And within just the first week of her passing, I got rid of the hospital bed. I got rid of a lot of her menial things that she needed, or that she was using, the potty chair and all that kind of stuff. I sent it back to where we got it from, that we were borrowing it from, because I didn't want to wait. Now there's certain things, like I have her dolls in one of the dressers here, that I actually would like to maybe bring out. I'm starting to bring things out instead of putting them away, because it's time for us to really believe that we have this stuff that can trigger us. And so how do you deal with your grief? Those that are watching me today, how do you deal with when things don't go your way? Because that's when sometimes grief can hit, right? It's when things don't go our way. Huh. And isn't life not going our way a lot? I know for me, I want things to be different. Are they different? Not really, but they are what they are. And who are we and what do we do during these moments is for our betterment. So when we can, it is time for us to really understand that grief will hit in unpredictable and in amazing ways. And it's not always easy to negotiate it or recognize it when it does happen, because of the fact that sometimes we don't know that grief can happen if we can't go a certain way to work like we always go, or we can't go to a certain restaurant because it's closed down, or we can't eat a certain thing, or and people really don't really a lot of people don't respect how much an animal who passes can be just as heavy on us as a grandfather or a brother or a sister can be, because sometimes though it depends on how we're connected with them. And sometimes we do get hits that somebody is going to pass. I'm getting a tap here that something's going to change in my life in September, and I don't know what it is. I mean, I do know what it is, but I don't know what it is, and I can't say what I think it is. But what I can say though is that, like my mother-in-law leaving on Wednesday, I was grieving her leaving almost on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, because of the fact that I really knew I was going to miss her. And so I pre-grieved. So does anybody pre-grieve? How do you pre-grieve? You know, before something happens that you grieve. You can grieve. That's why when somebody is, let's say passing away of cancer or a certain thing, or if somebody passes away quickly, like with a heart attack or a car accident, you know, you'll be processing your grief just a little bit different. You may go into anger a little bit faster with the car accident, or the sudden the heart attack, the suddenness of the of that scenario that triggered your grief, where you had a little bit more time to process it if it's coming. And there is no happy medium and no one that's more better than not, because sometimes when it's a long drawn out thing, kind of like my dad with colon cancer, my mom with Lou Gehrig's disease, and my uncle with Lou Gehrig's disease, it was a longer drawn out process. And it wasn't an easy thing to watch. Gosh, it was not an easy thing to watch my family go through that, and it was not an easy thing to deal with it. But at the same time, though, I'm grateful that I had more time to process what was happening in the moments that was going on, because I had a chance. So then when that transition of them crossing over, that I was actually grateful that they were out of pain. They were out of that story. They were out of what they were doing physically, and they were able to be in spirit form again. So Veronica, thank you. Yes, I did grieve my sister who had breast cancer for 13 years. Yeah, and I'm sorry for that, that she had to go through that, and that you had to go through that, and your parents had to go through that. And, it's not easy to lose a child. I think, if you're thinking about, hierarchy, let's say, about grief, that, that when we have family members and pets that pass away, that's hard. But when you have, let's say, a child who passes away, depending on the age, depending on the circumstance, it is beyond, anything that one can say. I can say the only thing that compromises with losing a child is if you are in a relationship with someone who, for over 50 years, let's say, and they're in your life day and night, and they pass away, that it might be a little bit on the same scale as a family member passing away, or I mean, as a child passing away. So going into this, that we are in who we are, and we are in the story of what's going on, and we are in the moment of what's happening. And grief is really, it's like what's happening in our presidency, the elections this year. We have a lot of elections, and we may go through the grieving process of that happening, of it not happening the way we want it to. And so, there's going to be, and it's interesting because, as energy is, if we get too many people dealing with grief at one time, and they don't really know what's happening, and they get angry in their grief, then that anger kind of comes in, and it negotiates through our story. And then it's not just our grief that we're feeling, it's everybody else's grief that we're dealing with. And so that's where, like, when I go into a funeral, or I go into where there's a lot of people grieving, I'll put my hands or something over my lower chakras, my first, second, and third chakras, and I kind of block them energetically, so I'm only dealing with my stuff and not everybody else's stuff, because emotions can get overwhelming. And so who are we and what are we through that story is up to us. And you know um I was going to say something was calling for me to say it, and I forgot what it was now. Okay, so it'll come to me. But going into this, we are who we are, and we are what we are. And we can only be our emotional self that we are. And that's the thing, is that grieving our family members and our loved ones, four-legged or two-legged or no-legged, that when we are grieving that, it is about, hopefully, that our if we have a spouse, or we have some siblings that are going through the same thing, but they're different. Like, I grieved my parents differently than my husband grieved my parents. He didn't know them very long. He deals with emotions a lot differently than I do. So, he's going to grieve differently than I will. And so, how do we negotiate that is, a little bit of empathy and sympathy, but How can we say, to ourselves, I really need a down night. I'm really being emotional right now, or a down moment. I need to go integrate what I'm feeling in grief here or in this emotion that I'm in. But, you know, and then the person who we're telling this to, if they can, try to honor that moment. But when they are having a moment, because everybody has a moment, it's not always at the same time we do, but sometimes it is, that we go into this moment of believing that we have the grace around who we are. And so hopefully when we are weak, our other who people around us are stronger. And then as we're stronger, that they can get weak and we can get into this back and forth of support. Because sometimes we all grieve at the same time. And I know for me, when I was, having my kids young and my family was passing away, we hugged sometimes and saying, I miss them too, and we would cry because we're in this dance of who we are and what we're doing and what's happening. And all we can do when we're dealing with grief is really, hold on to what we're doing. And I know that, I've had somebody here that, her two cats have, one disappeared and now the other one's disappeared. And what kind of grief is she going through? you know, because things happen. Animals. Like for me, I grieved that the cat that I had for a while, Ava, didn't want to be in the house with me and I wouldn't hardly see her because she's feral. And so with that, you know, I grieved that I didn't have a cat. Now I have a cat and it's now 9 months old and little Rocky and I can say that, I'm feeling much better, but at the same time though, he is him and I am me and we work together. So going into this, that, grief is something I want people to hopefully understand, that it's okay to be in the stages of grief, especially depression, especially anger. Please be respectful of how long you're there and what you do with it. Okay, what you do with it. So if you're angry, please be careful about being angry with other people or other things. You don't want to be breaking your head across the railing because you got upset, right? You want to know that it's okay to scream and yell sometimes into a pillow. Remember, not the one that you sleep with, because, well, if you do, remember to shake it out because emotions do stay in pillows. So going into this, who are you and what you are, is really up to you and how long you stay there. Because the 5 stages of grief are very much valid. Actually, I think there's more than just those stages of grief, but yet they all are there. So, who are you and how do you negotiate that anger? How do you negotiate that anger? So I'm getting to that time and I'm feeling the tap of Azrael coming in. Now, I have a special relationship with Azrael. He's my personal angel. And I don't talk about him much because of all the endings and new beginnings I go through. It's just something I do. I mean, I have many planets in my, 12th house, which is endings with beginnings. So I deal with death a lot and rebirth process a lot. And so dealing with grief is there with me daily sometimes because of the birth to rebirth process that I'm in all the time. And so, how do we do that? So Azrael is here and he is the ultimate timekeeper. He is the one that took on helping people to cross over. Now, Samedi Baron is the hoodoo religion of death. So Samedi Baron, love him. He's not a negative being. He sits on the physical side of death, where Azrael sits on the spiritual side, the ones that helps get to be crossed over. And Azrael helps us through things. So if you're going through grief, Azrael wants to help you. If you help others go through grief, you're probably working with Azrael. If you're working with as a nurse, and you have a lot of people that cross over, you're probably working with Azrael, and he helps you. So going into this, that as we have this support and help, our angels are here to help us. And my Wi-Fi is going a little bit wonky again. So who do we call upon when we're in grief? You can call Mother Mary. She is a deity who, it doesn't matter what your religion is in. She's here for you. Jesus, doesn't matter what religion you're in, he's a deity who's willing to help you. Azrael is willing to help you. Archangel Chamarel is one that helps through change. You have many other angels, and you can even ask the story of, I'm asking for an angel who can help me through my emotions that are going through right now. So you can even just say that word. I'm asking for an angel to come and help me through the emotions that I'm feeling right now, and they will help you, but you have to be willing to ask them sometimes to negotiate your story. So Azrael, I'm going to channel Azrael. And remember, when I'm channeling Azrael, I'm channeling messages now, but my voice might change and I might be a little bit different. And I'm hoping that the energy shifts. Now, your belief system is yours. You can believe that I channel, or you don't have to believe that I channel. But please, if there's a message for you and you hear it in the way that you need to hear it for your truth, that it can support you in your journey. And that's all my intention is to help your journey in life, remembering that your truth is your truth. I'm just a perspective and in a moment to help you be you. Okay? Hmm. So as I go forward here, I'm going to ask Azrael to be with me. And just give me a second here, and we'll speak for a little bit. And then after that, I will be doing some card readings for you. I might pick another deck too. So Veronica or whoever's watching, can you maybe pick another deck? I have dragons. I have the Ascendant Masters deck. I have my Gentle Creatures deck that I haven't pulled out for a while. I have a new deck here. Wonderful friend gave it to me, and it's the Angelic Gemstone deck. I have not really opened it up, so it would be a new deck for me to read with. So I got different decks, but first, Azrael wants to speak. He's actually kind of anxious to get in here, so let me get myself centered here and let me be. So I'm hoping and praying that this is a message for you, that you can help you negotiate your world. Give me a second, please. Hold space for love and light as the angels come in. Oh, dear ones, I, Azrael, come for you to know that as your story is continuing on this planet, that you are coming into a big shift and change. I am here to help you, remembering that I, Angel of Ultimate Time, can help you negotiate the times that are coming forward. As time is shifting and dimensions are changing and things are happening and truths that you were told were not truths and now are becoming truths, things are in your story that you are going to maybe have the grief understanding, because you cannot have the same story that you had your whole life, and you can move it forward, but there is that grief process of who you've been to who you're becoming as you go forward in your story of life, that it is about transformation and change can trigger the emotional baggage of grief. But do you need to stay there? No. It depends on the perspective of what the thing is that you are grieving. So as you go forward and in your dance of life, and as you are in the amazingness of who you are, that there is time of change. Change is coming to you and for you. Yes, for you. Because the for you is for you to know that you can persevere through a lot that is in front of you. You are as strong as the experiences that you're in. Let me say that again. You are as strong and as the experiences that you are bring that have been brought to you because of the fact that you are stronger than you think you are. You may feel weak, but you are weak in the mind, not weak of the soul. Let your soul be the walk of who you are, as this dear one lets the soul expand to let me come in, because she knows that I am broad and big as I am a celestial angel. I work in the celestial time. I am not limited by body form. I am of light and love. I help through changes because changes in this galaxies, and I say that with an S, that galaxies are bigger than what we think on this planet. You are yet a a pin top of the realities around you. Earth is as small as a grain of sand in the sand of the beaches of this world. We are all in the midst of change, and as I help other planets and I help you, Earth, and to do your work, I am here to be a greater sense of you. So believe that as change is happening, it is called evolution. A flower doesn't stay a bud. It has to evolve to a beautiful flower and then die off and become new again because the plant needs to replenish. As this dear one has a rose that basically died off and now it is restarting again from its core. So many things that are happening in today's world is bringing you back to your core self, like the rose coming growing from its core. So when you are in the story of you, remembering that your core self is changing and evolving to its greater self. It is time for you to believe that you have the strength to do that core change. You do not have to be the belief system that you grew up in. You do not have to be the being that you have been before this moment. Remember that moments are the moments of your life. And it is the journey of one moment that leads to the next moment. So go forward in your life with blessings and love, my dear children, because I am here for you. Call upon me if you are struggling with time or change. I am here for you. And my brother Chamarel will actually help you too. And Gabrielle, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Celestial, Metatron, and all the beings of this planet and the planets around you are here to assist you because things are happening for you, not to you. They are happening for you. Now it's your perception if it is to you, because we can take things more personally than they truly are. As her mother-in-law now sits in the airport as her granddaughter is in the freeway waiting for a car, the car wreck to move along. She is getting angry and frustrated, but yet what she can do, the dear one that's in the car waiting to move, is that she can send love and light to the people who are in the car accident, and she might move along a little faster. So find the blessings where you can. Bring blessings where you can and send blessings where you can. It will change your life and it will help your low times so that you can be brighter in the low times. Low times are a part of life, not the story of your life. Let me say that again. Low times, lower vibration experiences, some people call lessons, are at a moment in life. They are not your story of life. You choose to bring it as a story and continue it. Well, that's the way my day is flowing. Ain't that a simple statement to make? Well, that's my day, way my day is. Can you say that when there's miracles flowing? Usually not. But say that, well, that's the way my day is flowing. I have miracles today. Oh, but we always think of the negative. Not always, but some. So it's time for you to believe that you are the miracle, as this dear one likes to say. And then we chose you to come onto this planet at this time because you have the energy to negotiate it. Because you are as strong as the experiences that come to you. Your perception makes them harder or easier. So believe in who you are and remembering that everybody has a story. Do you get attached to their story or do you stay in yours? Makes you wonder. It's you believing in that you are your story and that you are strong because you are strong beings. Your soul has gone through many different dimensional walks. It is a strong being. It comes from light and love. Let it be light and love. It is time for you to believe. Namaste. And I do feel questions out there. I cannot answer them right now today, but I will be there for you and with you, my dear. Blessings be on your journey, and remembering that grief is not a story. It is a journey to be who you are today and a stronger self. May love be with you because you are love and you are loved. Namaste, beautiful people of my earth. Love you. I, Azrael, am here for you. I'm Mother Earth. I am here for you, my dear children, and I am just so grateful that you are story. I popping in at the end of this because I want you to remember that I love you. Be centered, be grounded with me because I am in joyfulness with you. And be who you are. I, Mother Earth, do not like the way that people are digging in me and oh, ouch, that hurts kind of. But at the same time, it's all about experiences, isn't it? And I am here for you to be the experience. That's what that's what I was doing for. I was made to be an experience. So be you and be loved. And remember that I love you. I love you. And I hope that you are loved. I, Mother Earth, am always here for you to ground you as Gaia. May love be with you. I, Gaia, Mother Earth, love you. Wow. Ooh. Ooh. I think Mother Earth popped in, didn't she? Guess that door was open, wasn't it? So thank you very much. Yes, it's amazing who we are and what we're doing and letting life be. And I do hope that Azrael gave a message that you were needing to hear and excited to hear. And I think Mother Earth came in and was helpful for you. May blessings be on this journey. So, that was a nice surprise, Veronica. Thank you very much. So, you said gentle creatures, huh? So I am ready to do oracle cards. So I am going to do gentle creatures and or this is Wisdom of Avalon from Claudette Baron Reed. This one is by I cannot say the name, so it's like Arwen Lynch Poe. Arwen Lynch Poe from the Gentle Creatures. So if you would like a card, let me know which one you would want. The Wisdom of Avalon or Gentle Creatures. And the Gentle Creatures, I just love this deck. I haven't pulled this deck out, but they're just so like loving, and it's just they're just so amazing. Their story, they're just gentle creatures. Just gentle creatures. So that's the deck of the Gentle Creatures. Is anybody interested in getting a card reading? If not, I will just do a reading for everybody. And if you do hear a reading from somebody else and that card says, hey, that one's for me, that might be because everybody needs a message today. So, Veronica, I know that you do want a reading, so I'm going to do the gentle creatures for you. Yes. So I will do that. So I was ahead of the game, wasn't I, Veronica? You just mentioned that you wanted the gentle creatures. Okay, so put out that intention, my dear. You know the routine. Okay. Put my mic over here. And put that deck up there. My Wi-Fi has been having problems today. Guess Mercury's in retrograde, isn't it? Okay. Woo! Loss. Loss is your card. And there's another one that that's kind of interesting. You got lost when I'm talking about grief, right? There's another card that's in here for you that I'm going to read here. Because I know that you've been probably, because you got a new body part. And then at the same time, your parents were leaving. So you've dealt with some loss lately. Okay, so you got the kindred spirit. That's so cute. Look at that. It's like it's a creature with a young being that they're reaching out to each other. And then you had invention. So how can we get the things from the bottom to the top of the tree? And doing that. So I'm not going to read all of them. I will send you a picture of what it is, but let's do loss first. Now, I have been with my dyslexia a little bit interesting, so I will I'm going to ask the angels to read for me. So, loss. This is what the card says here. Okay. Loss. Grief moves among us. And this might be for everybody. And then I'll read the two cards that you got at the same time. So I heard there's two cards and there's two cards that came up, but this one was it. So maybe this lost card is for everybody. Grief moves among us like fingers in the foggy river. Like a figure in a foggy river. This gentle creature mourns the loss of his winged friend. Even knowing that the moth had a short life cycle, there is still the feeling of loss. Losing someone to death, distance, disagreement leaves an empty space inside. This card illustrates that everyone mourns in their own way. One turns away to gaze into the coming light, hope for another winged beauty. The other looks directly at the moth, remembering the beauty of its dancing gold wings. Each is right. Let no one tell us how to grieve or losses. Even the ones we know had to come. Lean into your emotions and let them flow through you. Sadness will not end you. Rather, it will wash over out your pain, so you can begin to honor what it was. What is remembered lives. You will move on from this point carrying the good memories with you. And that's the thing. As we all go through life and we have losses, that we are in the midst of a lot of change, and we are getting stuck into sometimes our story, and it's about letting it be what it is. And we are going to have emotions, and we're all going to have emotions in a different way, and there is some things that are happening, but it is being, sometimes that melancholy. And, I did a video yesterday and I was kind of in my melancholy stage where I wasn't sad and I wasn't joyful. Just was. And I ended up having to take my son back home, and I didn't want him to go. I wanted him to stay a little bit longer, but had to have him go. And my mother-in-law was leaving. And then, it was like, it was a day. So, we all have moments where we're not our better, and that's okay. So GH, thank you, Natasha. Yes, I did like one, especially with this topic of grief. Gentle creatures sounds nice. Okay, I will do that, JH. Okay. Okay, so Veronica, let's see. I'm going to read one of these cards. Which one would you like? Would you like invention or kindred spirits? Because I can only read one. I'm kind of getting invention. So I'm going to do invention. And then I'll send you a snapshot of the kindred spirits. Invention. Okay, so invention for Veronica. Turning to the page. Invention. Oh, kindred? Okay, I'll do kindred. You want me to do kindred? I'll do kindred, and then I'll send you the picture of the invention. Okay, so kindred. Get to the right one. It's just the next page over. Okay, so kindred spirits. I love this one. When was the last time you had a cuppa with a friend? Tea, coffee, water. It doesn't matter what is in the cup. The gift lies in the holder of the handle. That is the true joy of a moment. Whether you gather to remember a friend, a moment, or to plan a new adventure, make time to chat. This isn't a deep discussion between two here. She stopped by on a whim. They've shared their beverage with her. The spontaneous moment in a field is a gift they share. Rather than check the time, they gaze at each other's eyes. This is an intimacy that cannot be forced or manufactured. No one is judging them on how they look or what they choose to talk about. You are being shown how to anchor yourself in this moment. If you don't have a convenient meadow to wander in, reach out to someone. Perhaps call that friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe it will be someone you see every day. Whomever it is, give yourself the pleasure to be present. You might speak to a stranger just to tell them you like their hat, their smile, their shoelace. Isn't it lovely when you can take a break to have a chat with another person? Do that today. Okay, so it's time for us all to stretch out a little bit and to negotiate our story. And sometimes, I have some of the greatest conversations in the grocery store line. We don't necessarily have to be good friends, but we can be, right? We can be. So I will send you a text with the inventions. Okay. So JH, let's see here. Do kindred spirits. Okay, so Jay, just put out the intention of what you would, if you have a question or that you just want to hear. And I'm opening up the door to that understanding. You're more than welcome, Veronica. Okay. Woo. Effort. Look at that. Isn't that cute? That effort. Okay, so what does effort one say? That's in ease. So remember, if something rings true on the I'm reading for other people, then you know that there's something message for you. So effort. Little umbrella for a bigger dude, huh? Okay, so effort. Every now and again, you just need to put out the effort. Our lovely creature holds up a small umbrella. It is evident that this umbrella is not going to do any really real good in terms of the falling raindrops. The yellow slicker the young girl wears proves more of a protection. But the fact that the umbrella is offered shows the creature cares. They they themselves are not bothered by the rain, but know that the smaller counterparts can sometimes be adversely affecting by too much cold and wet. So, as they say, Mama tried, or this case creature tried. Here is a reminder that we need to keep trying to do the right thing, even when it is too little, it is noticed. It is too little, it is not, it is noticed. The need to be kind is the most important thing. This card is a reminder to ask ourselves, how can we show someone I care today? Reach out in good faith. Help someone whenever you can. Your efforts will be noticed. Well, I hope that helps. JH, you are in the midst of a lot of ups and downs and ins and outs, I feel like, and sometimes we just have to negotiate our way through and being kind in the meantime until we see the fuller picture of it. So may blessings be with you. Let's see. The Wisdom of Avalon is calling, and I'm going to do one card reading for everyone with the Wisdom of Avalon. They've been quite noisy lately, wanting to speak. Woo! Whoa. I would say that they wanted to speak. Okay. I think I got everybody except for this one. These two. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Who wanted to go first? Okay. Here we go. Okay. We have to have disruption. We're in the middle of disruption. I've been like so stirred up. This moon really stirred me up. I'm going through my stuff. I'm going through things that I have. I'm making piles here and there to get rid of things. So disruption is part of the birth to rebirth process. And sometimes we're feeling very disrupted when we're the hyphen in the middle, because we have the strength to sit and contemplate where we're at. We're in the strength of who we are, the queen. That is woman, fertility, feminine power, sexuality, friendship. So be in your own power here, because we're transforming into who we are, into the beautiful selves that we are, because we have that masculine I've got it power. And this is man, fertility, male sexual energy, things pertaining to law and justice. So things are changing as we go, but our outer world is not necessarily our inner world, right? Because we're transforming into the beautiful butterfly, because we have the magic with us to do the work, because we have the partnerships. When we have the partnerships, like there's a couple readers in here of cards about sending the time going forward, right? So partnerships, don't be afraid to reach out to be with someone, because the goblin wants to fool us into believing other stories, because the goblin's a storyteller. But we can believe the negative stories, or we can have our power and fly on our wings and get into that fiery inner strength that we have to believe that our truth is our truth in spite of the world around us. Woo! I guess they really wanted to speak, didn't they? So we had disruption to birth to rebirth process, because we have the feminine power to change into our butterfly of transformation, so we can ground that power into something that we need to work with, because we have the magic of Merlin to work with us. But we need the partnership of both feminine power and masculine power, because we don't want to believe in our stories that we're telling ourselves to be the dragon that we are. I hope that helps. And Paula, thank you, just in time. Thank you for being here, and know that no matter what, have you found your little girl yet? I don't get so. I don't get you did. She is an independent little fart. And she's deciding to do what she wants to do when she wants to do it, and she's enjoying that. I don't know what to say beyond that. She's around you. If not, no. Okay, so she's around you, but her little independent fart doesn't really want to come home, and she's not going to come home until she's ready. But she will come home. She knows where you are, but she's just, yeah, independent little fart. That's all I'm going to say. Just going to be patient. Sometimes we got to do that, because our animals aren't always, like I was telling somebody who was dealing with a feral cat. It's like sometimes our animals are here to teach us patience and understanding that we can't have it all our way. Love them. Love them. I hope everybody finds themselves with grace and love. And as we walk into this next week, it will be the last week of August here. And I hope that everybody finds their love and joy. Don't know what I'm going to be talking about next week, but I will be here on YouTube. If you like what you're seeing, please follow. If you like what I'm saying about this grief, and then somebody can, please share it. I wish that I was on Facebook too, because it's easier to share on Facebook. But I got hacked, and so now I'm just on YouTube for a while. I'm now with my mother-in-law gone. I can maybe on Friday really sit down and figure this out. So may love be with you. See you next week, Wednesday at 4 o'clock Pacific time. May blessings be with you in this journey. And please remember that if you did not catch this whole show, you can rewatch it. That's why it's called a recording. And if you know of anybody who likes listening to podcasts, please let them look for Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha, because it's on podcast. I will load that up as soon as I'm done here with you with this thing. So blessings be with you, and may you know that you are loved. And any emotions that you have, it's called part of the process. And I hope that you can negotiate the process of what your emotions are here. Blessings be to you. I'm Natasha Venter, intuitive medium. If you're looking for any support, I can do private sessions with you. Go to Natasha Venter or go to intuitiveclarifications.com, and I have a lot of different sessions to help you. Bye now.